Hi, hey guys, how are you? You are welcome. This is my YouTube channel, and today I speak a little bit. I talk about English and literature, and why not history? Oh, maybe you wouldn't know that I am a man very, very interested in history. And more than this, I I study more than observe. I study more than I appreciate because many people appreciate history, but I consider that I study English. And what is my case? What is my point today? I have some points today, and these points uh, are the matter that I can try to explain. I can try to speak a little bit. And World War II is a matter very, very studied uh, through the newest eras, the eras that we have in the timeline. We can imagine the decades between the 40s of the earliest years that our parents have lived uh, in in the case if uh, if you are like me, if you are uh, a person with more or less for 45 uh, 50 years, if you have more or less this age, uh, probably your parents uh, are born in the 40s or in the 50s, okay? Of the 19s. Uh, okay, World War II was a phenomena, was uh, some people could make us terrified if they risk to call, to name, to call uh, World War II as as a spectacle of the fight of forces uh, and or a threat between nations. We know that it wasn't a spectacle, but actually many people who appreciate it more than this love uh, studying wars. They really can define World War II as a spectacle of threat between nations. And more than this, we know that World War II um, has brought, has uh, results from the threats from the arguably threatens and fights um, that our times, our contemporary times took place because nations were Western nations uh, more than countries from West and other places. Uh, where countries from West uh, actually more powerfully uh, acting more powerfully uh, trying to take place, trying to occupy space and the systems and the influences and with politics. Uh, we're talking about more than everything um, Europe, and we we were having, if we observe the history, we were having nations uh, changing relations between them, a field of threats and the humor of the nations was not good. Uh, Leaders and the political alliances uh, of these nations were so significant and so powerful to change relations between the countries, uh, especially Western Europe. Um, we have in that time uh, Germany, we have France, we have England, and we have uh, United States, geographically isolated uh, in North America. But we can say that uh, in the beginning of the about their uh, decades 10 and 20, the United States of America, uh, already had has influence in Europe, uh, because U.S. was an ex-colony of England. And what is the overview that we have in Europe? Uh, what causes what caused uh, fragmentation in the terms of alliances that were significant to maintain Europe in peace. Uh, what most forced significantly for that uh, the idea of peace could be overwhelmed, could be changed for attention. Uh, Actually, we already have uh, tensions in the decade of 10, and we have World War I in 1914 when uh, Germany Germany was a country such nebulous, where we already have attention. There would be certainly parties with a thought very profound in ideology, and it was the ideology of nationalism. And further, we will have nationalism again, uh, as a result from the nationalism of 2010, the 20 and the beginning of 30s. We had the World War I between 1914 and 1918, whereas U.S. Had to enter in the field of war. U.S. had many battles, and U.S. was significant to the resolution of the World War I. And lately, when we have Germany feeling the leaders that were occupying the leadership of Germany, more specifically Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler is a man with ideas very, very dangerous. He was Austrian. He was very, very engaged with the Germany cause. And Adolf Hitler conquered very, very strongly positions inside their party, and he was modifying ideas, and he was demonstrating his ideas and imposing his ideas, his ideology. And as he occupied the top of his party. He was acclaimed leader of Germany. Uh, he was acclaimed leader of Germany, and during a time that Germany, the people of Germany, uh, the Deutsches, the Deutsches, the Deutsch people, uh, were feeling humiliated because they had incursions during World War I that weren't, weren't so successful. Uh, Germany had threats with France uh, because these countries had disputes of territory and, had threatening political statements too. Uh, and they also had political uh, arguments. And in England, and in all the time during the that time, England was a potent country and was an empire, uh, powerful enough, powerful, powerful enough to influence in France, Germany. So we have uh, with the demonstrations of power for Adolf Hitler, we have the invasion of Poland in 1939. And Hitler uh, was occupying uh, the position of prime minister, and after that he was a Führer, the maximum leader, since 1933. Uh, so, in a time of 6 years, he came by thinking very, very engaged uh, about war, about uh, changement of the Germany. He was thinking that he was the man maybe chosen by God for that Germany could be brought to the top of the world again. And Germany, that in his opinion and in most Dutch people opinions, was a country humiliated with one more war. Germany could renew the nation, and more than renew the nation. Hitler was thinking as a tyranny, because Hitler wanted to change the Europe. Hitler wanted to change the connections, the politics in all the Europe. And suddenly we have a situation more than embarrassed. We have a situation, we have a scenario of total humiliation, because we have a Poland humiliated and occupied, and the government of Poland occupied by Nazism, and Nazism was the system that Hitler made Germany, and Nazism begins to change all the scenes and all the sceneries of Europe. And when Hitler and the Dutch forces occupy Poland, we have the declaration of war. England declares war to Germany, and immediately France declares war against Germany too. And we have the invasion, we had the invasion of Poland, so now we have invasion of Austria, and we have invasion of countries of Caucasus, and the idea of Hitler is more strong than this. Hitler is thinking in taking the domain of Germany to the territory of France, an important country, a powerful country. France is a potency, uh, and he early have this glory. Germany occupied France in 1941. The war was declared in 1939, and Hitler occupied France in 1940. Actually, 1940. Uh, so now we have England and France fighting against Germany, uh, and but uh, in a few time, in less than 1 year, we have France capitulating, and France now is under the power of Germany. But England is a potence, and England, even and despite is geographically very next to Germany in terms of kilometers, separated for the North Sea and Atlantic Ocean. We have England being very, very engaged, very, very furious, very, very resilient. England is a nation resilient. Germany has the domain of France. France capitulated, and now Germany tried to destroy England, bombing England. Germany uses an arsenal, a tremendous arsenal of bombs, bombing London with aircrafts. And this is terrible. This is terrible because London is destroyed, almost totally destroyed, but the leadership of the reign is very, very engaged in the war. In London and in the reign and the leadership of England, of United Kingdom, yes, United Kingdom, doesn't have the fury of Germany caused the capitulation of the United Kingdom. Uh, the king uh, stay saved. The king of United Kingdom stayed saved. Uh, all the family, all the imperial family is firmed, is occupied, is engaged with the war. Uh, so that's a point. We have a point very, very interesting. That is the importance of Soviet Soviet Union, Soviet Union, the Soviet people uh, in this conflict, because Hitler was sharing his influence, sharing his troops, sharing, spreading, sharing his political, his ideology, and spreading his troops, spreading Deutsche troops through the East Europe. But Hitler had a problem. Hitler had a barrier. We have Soviet Union, and it's not a simple thing. Occup more than occup. Actually, we are talking about and we are saying of capitulation. Soviet Union weren't. Soviet Union wasn't a nation easy to capitulate. Soviet Union has a territory very, very large and a people very, very engaged, population consistent enough, consistent enough to engage in the war. A big population, and if we have a large territory, it wasn't easy to the Nazists enter through whole the territory of Soviet Union. But the Nazis, the Nazis, the Nazis the Nazis launched uh, fronts against Soviet Union. They spread war in the Soviet Union. Uh, with uh, quick attacks, with tremendous forces, uh, and they rapidly occupied the western portion of Soviet Union. So now we have the east of Soviet Union controlled by Kremlin, and the western of Soviet Union in the hands of Nazis. And we have, so now we have a war, almost total war in Europe. And day by day, the war goes terrifying the continent, and making prisoners and in this situation we have Jews, a people very specific in Europe, a people that uh, through the eras, through the times, uh, took place in Europe, and Hitler hates the Jews, and Hitler initiate Hitler initiated a one more thing of war against Jewish people. Hitler establishes the idea that Jews are a dangerous people, a people that is not a people dignity of justice, dignity of uh, negotiations, dignity of having a position in the society, because in the mind, on the mind of Hitler, on Hitler minds, people, Jews, had occupation inside, in the engrenages of European societies, that they were changing European society. They were occupying um, leadership, banks, negotiations, influence with uh, reigns, with monarchs, with presidential leaderships. And Hitler, and so Hitler, we have Hitler hating Jews. So we have the persecution of the Jews. And now we have a thing very, very detestful. We are terrified when we know, and the people of that epoch know, as now we know too, that the Nazis take Jews to certain places, camps of concentration, where uh, these people, Jews, uh, are treated uh, as something like non-human beings. They are submitted uh, to forced work, humiliations. Uh, they don't have the minimum treatment that a human being uh, has, a just treatment, a dignity treatment. So the dignity of the Jews is totally overwhelmed. Think of me, a people being treated uh, like an animal in a space that is not so big. We we're not talking about a, a village, maybe. I think of it. I imagine a, a place not so big, not so large. We're talking about thousands of people, and there they have forced works. They don't have food. proteins. They don't have proteins. They have a food or a horrible food, and they became something like zombies. They are thin. They are. They have day by day. They have loss of weight, and even being humiliated, even doing the forces works, they are submitted to more and more forces works, more and more strives, and they can't threaten with the Nazis. And now, with this situation in Europe and Hitler trying to conquer the Kremlin, uh, we have the theater of Pacific, because the Empire of Japan was helping Italy and Soviet Union. And it happened since the beginning of the war. And the interest of the Empire of Japan was all that seas, all that ocean. We have Pacific Ocean, and Japan was a, an empire determined to spread uh, domain very, very distant of this archipelago, distant of the islands that are the archipelago. Uh, and we have we have a day where United States is having a political uh, position of non intervening in the war, and we are in 1941, December 1941, December of 1941. And now the Emperor of Japan tried to do something very, very dangerous against US. Actually, we had a direct attack. Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and with this attack, US declared war to Japan, and consequently, US abandoned the position, the situation of a country isolated, a non-intervention war country, and affirmed an agreement with United Kingdom and the allies to fight, to have inside the war. So now we have a world in war. We have Jews being humiliated and treated as animals in camps of concentration, and we have nations being occupied by Nazis, and consequently its government being occupied by Nazis, and being forced to cede the forces, the military forces, to fight against the allies. And we have now the US fighting against Japan and Nazis. And we have England trying to maintain the war and trying to maintain the forces, the naval forces combating, and the naval forces and merchant forces maintain the path of supplements between US and England, but Nazis can destroy a, a large number of the ships that crosses the Atlantic into direction of United States, and we have supplements between US and England, because England is a country very necessary of supplements. And we have submarines, Nazi submarines, destroying ships. But England stay strong. England stay firm, stay brave. And consequently, we will have the AD, and we will have atomic bomb in Hiroshima and in Nagasaki, and we will have, as I already said, the disembark of allies in Normandy. And this is the point where the allies change the game of war and begins to destroy powerfully the Nazis Germany, and Soviet Union with the win of Stalingrad, battle, the Allies go to Berlin and reaches Berlin, and now we have Germany capitulated, and now we have Germany capitulated. Nazi Germany capitulated, but Japan still resists. Japan is still the Empire of Japan, and its empire still resists to forces and power of US. So the result and the consequence is that we have US bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with atomic bomb. Because Harry Truman decided that U.S. couldn't let Japan going and following with the determination of war. Because Japan didn't surrender, Harry Truman decided to use the atomic bomb. And the atomic bomb is something that took place during the war. The atomic bomb is a fact, is a result of science and military enforcement. Nazi Germany was trying to make atomic bomb too, but they couldn't reach it. The opposite, U.S., United States reached it. And the solution that the United States understood that is that the solution was aircraft bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki to force the Empire of Japan to surrender. And it happened in 1945, and now we have the end of the war. Yes. We have the end of the war in Europe in April, if I am not wrong, and the end of the war in the Pacific in July, in August. So it's over. We have the end of the war. It's over, and now we have people. We have nations and their people, and we have races as Jews free. Okay, so this is the World War II. Okay, it's a great matter. I like to study history, and I consequently like to study World War II. Okay, was my impression. Was my overview and my ideas. And take care. Thanks. Thanks a lot.